Hello, my name is Anna Clayton and I'm currently one of several people coordinating the work of Food Futures here in North Lancashire. And I'm really excited that you're watching this video because it means you must be considering doing our DIY visioning activity. And so I really look forward to hearing about your ideas and views. To help support you in doing your various workshops, activities, or whether you're just doing the activity on your own, we thought we would share a presentation about Food Futures so you have a little bit more context to who Food Futures is and how your ideas will feed into this local food strategy. So I'm going to share a short presentation to offer this and hopefully answer some of your questions. So Food Futures is North Lancashire's sustainable food network, and we in fact are now an award-winning sustainable food network after receiving a bronze award in 2019. And as a partnership and network, we came out of the Transition City Lancaster movement. So in 2014, the Transition City Lancaster group were looking at ways to try and upscale all the fantastic food work that goes on in our district, from the growing, cooking, distributing to eating of food. And they came across the Sustainable Food Places model. And they thought it offered a great framework or model for looking at how we might go about upscaling sustainable food work in the area and supporting more healthy, sustainable food cultures to emerge. And so this small group of community members who are all very enthusiastic and passionate took this idea forward and initiated some great events from which came some great projects and initiatives. But it wasn't really until 2018 when we had some part-time paid capacity to drive forward the work that we really started to see momentum build to the point where we have 2 people coordinating the network today alongside a number of other people driving forward different elements of Food Futures work. And as a partnership and network, the reason for our existence is really to bring people together from across the food system, whether that be farmers, eaters, distributors, shops, businesses, hospitals and their procurement staff, prisons and their procurement staff, to city councillors and county councillors. We seek to bring all these people together around one table in order to shape and direct our local food policies and approach to tackling food issues. And underlying the way we work is this systems worldview and approach to food. So we consider a lot of the issues that we face both within the food system as society and in society are systemic in nature. So if we look at issues such as food poverty or poverty itself, or the climate emergency, or the loss of biodiversity, the huge number of farms that are closing every day because they aren't financially viable, through to the fact that healthy food isn't always accessible to everyone in our society. These are systemic issues. They have been created by political decisions, infrastructure that's been put in place historically, and other processes and assumptions that we've made as a society about how we should live. And unless we look at the systemic nature of these issues and start to tackle that bigger picture holistically, it's very hard to really shift towards a healthier food system. So when we talk about this vision of a healthy, resilient and fair food system, we're talking about one that is healthy, resilient and fair for all involved. And this vision has been created over time by people feeding in and shaping and directing our work. And it's purposely quite vague to make sure that we bring together people with lots of different perspectives around what it means to have a healthy, resilient and fair food system, in order to ensure that we're bringing lots of voices into shaping local food work. And as a partnership, we take a place-based approach to our work, focusing on the North Lancashire area. So that covers the Lancaster district political boundary. And in doing this strategy process, we're very conscious that the political boundaries might be changing. And so we're hoping to hear from groups from the district and beyond, so into South Cumbria, towards Blackpool area and around, to make sure that we're taking into account other ideas without, in case the political boundaries do shift to encompass those areas. And we're taking this joint up approach in our locality to bring about collaborative, practical food work. And we then feed our experience and learnings into this national network of places that are taking a similar approach. So FoodFutures is a member of the National Sustainable Food Places Network. And as due to this, we have connections with a range of national networks such as Sustain, Food Matters and the Soil Association, who have come together to create the Sustainable Food Places Network. We also have international connections through some of our members, whether that be the International Permaculture Network, the International Transition Network, or through processes that we have fed into via the National Sustainable Places Network. And one example of this is the Global Food and Climate Declaration. And a lot of work will be run around this leading up to COP26 in Glasgow later this year. So just to summarize, we take this place-based approach, but keep these national and international connections to make sure that we're sharing learning, gaining inspiration from elsewhere, whilst also feeding into different policy and consultation processes so that we're influencing and shifting that bigger picture. And what we look like on the ground is something like this. So we have a range of themed working groups to ensure that we're bringing a range of voices to the table. And representatives from these working groups then attend quarterly partnership meetings, which are open to anyone joining, whether that be active members of these working groups or people that just want to come along and find out what's going on across our food system and to identify ways for them to get involved. So our quarterly partnership meetings, we see representatives from our working groups, as well as the occasional artist, writer, project representative of allotment business or community garden. So they're very much open, and we invite you to attend future partnership meetings as well. And our working groups are really the places where people are taking forward ideas and projects and putting them into practice and making them a reality. So I'll just highlight a few projects or initiatives that have emerged, otherwise I would speak for far too long. So our food economy and procurement working group has been very active over the last year. It held the first Northern Real Farming Conference that brought farmers across the north of England and Scotland together to share practices and ideas and inspirational stories about how we can farm in a way that's kinder for humans, the environment, and other species. The Food Economy and Procurement Group has also done the feasibility work and is now in the process of setting up Lancaster's first farm start scheme and site, which will see or become a training centre that supports new entrants into farming, and a type of farming that we call agroecological farming. So farming in a way that works in harmony with nature and produces healthy and nutrient-dense food. We have also produced a report looking at the barriers to procuring more sustainable food by our local keystone institutions, such as the hospitals and universities. The Food and Health Working Group has formed to deliver some projects. So, for example, in the last year, it helped coordinate Lancaster's Health Festival, The Lost Art of Living, which was run in partnership with the Hospital Trust. The Community Food Skills Working Group is taking forward a project that seeks to pilot food initiatives in schools. So it's looking at how we can work with schools to both grow food on site or adopt local green spaces to do so, whilst sharing cooking skills and other food skills and embedding that within the curriculum and how the school works. And it's through that working group that we have links to the Morecambe Bay curriculum. The Lancaster District Food Poverty Alliance is very autonomous, and it's now facilitated and chaired by Rachel Tyrrell Smith, who is a public health worker that's based at Lancaster City Council. And as an alliance, it's made up of a range of representatives of various stakeholders that are working to deliver emergency food support to people who need it. So it's made up of food banks, food clubs, Egg Cup, City and County Council, Citizens Advice, amongst others, such as the Poverty Truth Commission. And it's really looking at how we strategically come together to meet emergency food needs, whilst also looking at that longer term picture of how we move beyond the food bank, how we even eradicate poverty in the first place and the need for emergency food aid. Then we had the Food and Environment Group, and in the last year it's initiated a local cleaning network that goes and collects surplus veg and redistributes it locally. So that's just a taste of some of the work that we have been doing. And as a whole, with all these different working groups and partnership meetings, we have representatives from the local farming community, local food businesses, the public sector, city and county council, local NGOs, community food groups, and our local academic institutions coming together to shape our work. And we can always do better. We can always bring more voices into this mix, and this is why we're running this process and asking for your ideas to feed in and shape our strategy work. And underlying the very basis of how we work are some core values. So we believe strongly in collaborative, decentralized and inclusive working cultures. And we have facilitated Skillshare events and trainings to support our members in facilitating this sort of working. And it's why we've chosen a strategy development process that seeks to bring in as many voices as possible. We recognise that we need to skill up not only in food skills, but in all skills, whether that be facilitation, community engagement, business planning, accounting, marketing, everything. So as a network, we seek to consider all skills in shaping our work going forwards. In our communication, we seek to be lifestyle and aspirational focused. And whenever we come across anyone with passion and expertise for healthy, resilient and fair food, we seek to support them in implementing their ideas and helping to spread that passion so that this movement grows. And that brings me on to the 10-year strategy. We don't currently have a local food strategy that facilitates this joint up approach to food. And food has never really sat as a responsibility in one single place. So FoodFutures has stepped in to try and offer this platform that allows people to come together to shape a strategy. And we've chosen 10 years because if we are really serious about meeting net zero carbon targets by 2030, which is what our City Council has signed up to, then we have to get serious and we have to make sure that food is considered in any of these climate strategy processes. And so we've chosen 10 years to try and align with carbon and climate emergency targets, and to offer ourselves this guiding North Star so that we can focus our energy and make sure that we're doing the best we can with the resources that we have. So we hope for this 10-year strategy to act as that guiding North Star for food work in the district. And if we are to feed everyone well in the future, we need to make some important choices about how we will do this. And we believe that part of this journey involves questioning our role as citizens and our role in society. So we ask you, how can we each and every one of us act as citizens rather than passive consumers, eaters or producers? And how can we offer spaces that allow everyone that lives in a district to shape and feed into local policies and strategies? And it's in this light that Food Futures is inviting you to take part and to share your ideas and visions for what a sustainable food future looks like to you. And anything that you share through this activity and this strategy development process, I promise, will feed into that 10-year sustainable food strategy, which will feed into the Council's 2030 strategy. So as I mentioned at the start of this video, we very much look forward to hearing about your ideas and visions, and we hope that you see them reflected in the final strategy that we will share for comments in April, and we hope to publish in May. So thank you again, and we look forward to hearing about your ideas and your work.